And welcome everyone, this is RPGDad.
RPGNate.
And this is our weekly Encounters podcast, our wrap-up. Yesterday was July 10th. We played the fourth in series, Search for the Diamond Staff. This week was the encounter Barcero's Wrath. We actually had a lot of people this week. Again, we had 2 tables of 7 and a table of 6. And we had a couple people that were there watching, and they may be back in a week or so to play. I mean, we're probably heading towards a solid 4 tables if everybody keeps coming back. We had the 2 new players come back this week that played for the first time last week, and they've gone out and bought the box set of 4E and a book. And we had the one 3.5 player who brought a friend along, and they're going to come back next week. So I'm really happy to see all these people coming out to play on Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's nice having new players coming in, and just more players is always good.
It definitely mixed up our table a bit. I mean, we had the 2 new guys, we had the one player that brought his friend, then we had you and RPG Gem. We fit in 1 player who's usually a regular with us, and then a couple that usually sit at our table. They got there late, and you know, my opinion is I'm not saving seats. I'm the DM, and who comes gets to sit first, and that's really the way it should be. But the new players, I think everybody had fun. Well, maybe except for the one wizard at the table.
Oh yeah, he at first he was feared. And then he was paralyzed.
We'll talk about the encounter, but it was funny because they had leveled up to level 5. They were now tracking down
a wizard or somebody. We were tracking down
lady. What's her name? Let's say Penelope, but it's not her name. But you guys were tracking her down, and you came to the manor, this old, destroyed, decrepit manor, and it was hilarious because the wizard cast invisibility on the thief so that he could go in and search around. So, of all people, the thief fails on his stealth roll. He's invisible, and he's a thief, and he failed his stealth roll.
And then I come in and I crit on my stealth roll, and I get a 6 on the skill die.
Yeah, he gets an 8, you get a 26.
28.
Or 28, and it was just stupid. I mean, here's a guy clanging around in armor being more stealthy than the invisible halfling thief.
Yes.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then RPG Gem decides she's going to stealth, and she stealthed. You know, she rolled an 18 plus her dex, and it's just like everybody's stealthier than the thief.
Yeah.
It was just like it was crazy. And I think he failed like another time. And I let you guys role play it out instead of doing the checks and all, because I really prefer that. I want the people involved at the table. I don't feel you're involved if you're just rolling die.
Yeah, I was the only one that really got involved, though.
No, well, RPG Gem was getting involved. It's funny because they go through. They had a couple of areas they could have searched, like the kitchen and some other parts, but they searched the courtyard and then another area. Then you go over and you just slam the door open where all the guys are inside. And you're like, well, I'm going to move again. I'm like, no, you're not. And I had a reason for that, and I know you were mad.
Mr. DM breaking the rules.
I did it so that you could do the role play. I mean, you had here's the thing. The players had the opportunity to role play with Barcero, the wizard who was the leader of the group that was there.
Now, the funny thing is, the table that was to your right, they charmed the guy.
Well, they role played and then they charmed the guy, but they were done an hour early because of it. So they kind of screwed themselves. They did role play. We got started a little late because we had people filing in. We started trying to shift tables around, and then more people came in. We're like, screw it, we're just going to sit 7-7-6. And we had another DM there, but by the time we started to think about shifting some people off the table to start another table and maybe have a table of 5 and then the rest the way it was going to be, the one guy had already started. But we got started probably about 15 minutes late, and we did run the full time. But, I mean, we were talking about the role-playing. We were talking about versions. We were still involved at our table, the different players. We were talking about gaming itself. And so, I mean, we got our full 2 hours out of it, and I think everybody at the table really enjoyed it. The new guys, they were asking questions about D&D, and we all had a lot of fun. But then we got down to the actual game itself, and I know you wanted to go. You did part of your move, and then you were going to move again, and I'm like, no, because number one, the guy had reach. He could have hit you really if you moved away and acted aggressively. It was in your best interest. But the idea of this encounter was for the party to roleplay. Because if you could convince Barcero that you were a potential ally, or that you were so far beneath him that you were of no concern to him, then you could have moved on to a different part of the encounter. And why don't you talk and say what happened and why you, the thief, and RPG Gem were so annoyed?
Well, I had the deal completely set. We were going to get an extra.
Well, tell what happened, and then.
So I go up, I open the doors, and he's standing there, and I try to move away, like he said, but he doesn't let me. So everybody else starts moving up. RPG Jim comes up, and then the thief was just kind of hiding back there because he was invisible.
And all this worked to my favor because it ended up with 4 people around the one circle, one square, so that I had a perfect setup for a hit on the one attack.
But I had set the entire thing up. We were going to get an extra 250 gold. We were going to get the 50-50. And because we had a lawful good cleric and everybody else was good, they decided to stay with the other guy. And we nearly died.
Well, it's funny because here, RPG Gem, she's your lawful neutral cleric. You've got the thief, and he's invisible. He's not really involved, but he's sitting there going, I'll go along with that. I'll be happy to get 250 more gold out of the deal. And but then you have the wizard who's supposed to be neutral, but he's still lawful good. He's not really playing in character. He's playing in personality.
Yeah.
And then you had the other wizard who was playing lawful good, and the new cleric that played, and he's like, oh, we'll stick with a deal. And then all of a sudden, 2 of them say, we're initiating combat. And we had already rolled initiative so that we were ready if this happened. And I just started laughing because I had initiative with the group that was just the biggest badasses on the board other than...
me.
No, other than the wizard. You were nothing compared to this wizard. I didn't use some of the spells I could have. And it's encounters. And, I did the Don't Be a Dick video. I would have been a dick if I did what the one guy at the next table did. This character had a spell called Death Smoke. It's a 10-foot radius cloud of black smoke centered on a point. I only played it as a 5-foot radius, or I could have wiped your entire party in 2 turns. I played it as a 5-foot radius, and you have to remember, we're playing it as next. So you guys at 5th level are not super duper hit points, you're not super duper AC, you're not awesome powerful. This spell is wicked. If you're in the cloud, it's 6d6 damage if you get hit. If it misses, it's half damage. So no matter what, you're getting the snot kicked out of you. If it hits you, you are feared. And your next standard action, the only action you can do, is roll to see if you can make the con check. First you have to make the check to see if you get hit again. Then you have to make the check as your standard action to see if you're still feared.
Now what I did next round was...
But let me finish. If you fail the con check the second round, 6d6 of damage. Every round that you're in this cloud, it's 6d6 of damage. It's way too overpowered.
Was it possible to get feared after that?
Yes. And I didn't do that. So what I did...
I'm immune to fear.
It doesn't matter. What I did, I adjusted it down so it was just an after effect, and I wasn't doing the 6d6. And I know there are people who are going to be out, oh, you can't do that. Yes, I can do that because Encounters is there. You've got new players at the table, new people coming in from different systems to see. It's no fun if you TPK the party.
Now, on the next round, after he had placed the cloud, I failed my check, and he rolled the d6 of damage he was doing. And my question was, does it fear me? And the reason I had asked that was I wanted him to say yes so that I could say I'm immune to fear.
That's fine, but let me finish. Honestly, there are times as a DM, you like I said, you have to break the rules. This is Wednesday night is fun gaming night. That's the way I see it. Encounters is fun gaming night. This encounter could TPK an entire party very quickly in 2 rounds. Even with the misses, I could have rolled and TPK'd a couple of these characters. One wizard went down. He was at -3 on the very first hit.
Well, because he hadn't healed up.
But he was down. The other wizard was knocked to crap and feared.
He was feared and paralyzed.
No, he was. Let me finish, because it wasn't paralyzed yet. He was feared. And what I did, I let him make his Constitution roll. The fact that he failed so badly, I made him have to run as far away from that cloud as possible. So that got him out of the cloud. My next move with the wizard was to move over. He knew that the one wizard was down, the other wizard was feared. He moved, got line of sight, and he cast the paralysis spell on him. So he was feared and paralyzed. I made sure the wizards were out of play for the game. It wasn't a dick move, it was a strategic move. But you guys, you were locked in. The very first move, I was able to move those chain slinger guys because they teleported. But they could have slaughtered everybody. I was very kind with my dice rolls, and I was very kind with my damage. And I allowed the ranger to come in. Yes, he had to make the con check because he had to. He thought he could just reach in and pull the guy out, but that physically puts you in the cloud. So I made him do the con check. I didn't kill him with 66 of damage. So I adjusted the rules of this encounter. So you guys got hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, the group got hurt. You had one guy go below hit points. You had a couple players that were really banged up, but I didn't TPK you. I made it a challenge for the group. I didn't make it just a ridiculous, you're all dead. And I think that when they overpowered this encounter, it was a huge mistake. If the next table over, he killed a couple of guys.
Yeah.
One player was dead outright.
Yeah.
Not coming back. That's not fun. It's not fun for the group. And if it's new players and they come in and they're like, oh crap, this is what D&D's about, especially if you're going to take time to create a character. Okay, I'll spend an hour building up a character. I really like this guy. Bam, I'm dead. They're not going to come back and play. And that's what Encounters is about, is getting people involved in the game and having them come back to play. This encounter was not designed for that. This encounter, with that one power and a couple other things that I could have done, I could have easily killed you in 2, maybe 3 rounds. The chain slingers, they actually had a double attack. When they move, they do the teleport move, they get to do an attack, and then they get to do their main attack. Because the move attack is a move, and then the other is a standard. So I could have double attacked and killed one player in one fell swoop with that guy. Then the cloud, if I would have made it a full 10 radius, I would have been wiping everybody out. So I made a DM decision to make it so you guys would be challenged but have fun. And what did you think of the encounter?
Well, I just slaughtered things.
I know, you killed the shit out of things, but what did you think of the encounter overall and the interaction of the table? I want you to talk.
Well, it really annoyed me that after I spent all that time haggling with the guy, bam.
I know, you're still bitter that you negotiated, and the Goody Two-Shoes character said, no, we're sticking with the deal with Amani. We initiate combat. I know you're mad about that, but I'm saying, what did you think about the encounter overall, the enjoyment level at the table? I know the one wizard who I feared and paralyzed had no fun.
No.
But I think everybody else thought it was funny as hell. I thought it was funny. Sometimes as a DM, I didn't do it as a dick move. He had already put that flame sphere out, and I didn't want the flame sphere going through and wiping out the bad guys, so it was done early. So that was one of the reasons that I froze him up and took him out of play. I mean, he knows how to use that one spell and to control the board.
And he is an experienced player.
Exactly.
So, well, the encounter for me wasn't that difficult. They all missed, only 2 attacks.
But did you have fun?
Yeah, I had fun slaughtering the things. It was hilarious.
Now, what about the rest of the group?
Like you said,
I think
one
even
wizard.
the wizard that I put his ass down in the first round, he was able to get up and do some stuff. He enjoyed himself, and I think he really thought it was funny that you guys you guys had set up a deal and that he had decided to go ahead and screw you over. But
Yeah. For that encounter, I have that heart protection. The rogue and the cleric were the only ones getting it at that time.
well, I disagree with both you and RPG Gem's decision there. It's in your best interest to give the aura to everyone, even if you're mad at them. And that goes to, probably another video that we'll do is don't play as a dick. It was kind of a dick move because RPG Gem was like, I'm not healing anybody but these guys. And you were like, I'm not giving the aura protection out. It's a dick move. You need to cooperate with the group. The majority of the group, yeah, they went against you, but it's a group decision. So there comes a point you have to go along and not be bitter. And RPG Gem, I mean, yeah, she's younger, so she's going to be a little more bitter, but she has to get over it next week and do her part and heal in the group.
I did say that it was just for that week.
I mean, it shouldn't have happened. In my opinion, it shouldn't have happened at all. If I was a player in the group, I might have gotten mad and accidentally hit you a few times and put you down.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because that's just doing the opposite of participating in a group. You have to assume there's a group of adventurers. You're developing a bond, and that's not the type of bond that you want to develop, where that guy's a dick. The first chance I get, I'm going to stab him in the back. So, you need to think about that when you're playing. You can't take any of it personally.
Yeah. And
you did.
Now, at the end, we picked up a new player for the Sunday group. We'll see if he becomes a solid, but
that's the one that was hiding behind the wizard and using your softest character as cover before. So I don't know how well he's going to mix in with a group, because our group works together, even though we're evil characters. And he has to understand you have to work together, because if you piss off the thief, there's a good chance you're going to be killed.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. I don't know what he's going to roll. I don't have his contact info, so I can't email him.
But he has to understand, you piss off the thief, you're going to be killed, and the group is probably going to back me up.
Yeah. I don't know. What did he roll as a 4th edition character?
I don't know. It looks like he tends to mess with rangers and stuff, so if he brings a ranged character along, it'll be helpful. But we'll see. I mean, I'm not real worried about Sunday's game right now. Overall, and you guys I took it so easy on you, because there came a point where I used Barcero's spell, his what the hell was it? Dimension Door. And I went ahead and he got away.
How many spell slots did he have for each one, did it say?
Yeah, he had more than you guys needed to him to have. So, used his Dimension Door, he got out of there, and that really, I did that to save. So he had a fourth level spell, Dimension Door, once a day. He had 3 third-level spells. I could have used Death Smoke over and over and over on you guys and wiped you out. I could have just destroyed you.
Yeah.
And
what
then
is Dimension Door?
And then I used we'll look that up later, and we're not doing that on this. And I used Hold Person. That's the one that does the paralyze.
That was funny.
And I honestly,
what level is he?
This is don't worry about that. This is one of the first well-designed wizards that I've seen for next.
Shadow Kai? But they're under the Raven Queen. Why the hell are they with him?
He's a necromancer.
No, they're Raven Queen people.
It doesn't matter. It's the first well-designed wizard that I've seen, and unfortunately it wasn't for player characters. I mean, I really think the 4th level wizard they built with stuff like knock and just stupid spells were poorly designed. So he was really well designed. He was designed as a party killer.
Yeah.
As long as he has bodies in front of him guarding him, he's a party killer. He can wipe you guys out. And, I give him credit for building a solid character, but it was overpowered against any group that was in there. The one group got lucky when they cast Charm on him because the DM rolled bad with all the pluses. It was an 11 versus a higher roll. So that group got lucky. One bad roll, and they would have been wiped. The other table found that out.
Yeah.
When they had 2 dead characters sitting over there and everybody else almost dead.
I don't believe that when you charm somebody, I don't think it...
Well, you can look it up. Like I said, I don't really care about wizard powers. I don't do wizards. But, the first wizard I played in a long time was when we did that weekend encounter.
Yeah.
And that's when I discovered the Flame Sphere and the Baconator, and I used that to control the rooms and keep you guys alive. Other than that, wizards are great characters. I'm just not a wizard playing character. The closest I will do is playing something like a Hexblade, which is still a striker that uses some type of magic, but it's not a wizard where it's a controller. I think that the characters that are playing wizards would be better served by building their own wizards and picking their own spells, because
I might build a wizard.
They really do build some crap characters for some of these pre-gens.
Yeah.
And, maybe build, since we've got a guy who's coming and playing a wizard, if you want to build a wizard and let him use it, that's a little bit better as a 5th level wizard, that might be a nice thing to do. And I'd recommend that to the DMs. I know it's a little more work, but if you're an experienced DM, and I admit I should be doing it, but I let him do it. He's gotten so quick at building these next characters. It just comes down to picking spells and stuff. He can do the basics, the character generation, a lot quicker than I can. And that's my own prejudice against Next. I'm playing it. I enjoy the combat, the way it works, with just a move and a standard action. It makes it almost like old D&D when I started. It's quick. Combat goes really fast. 7 players at the table. We were able to get through combat rounds really fast. I mean, we did 5 full rounds in that hour with 7 people and 3 groups of enemies. And it went fast. Nobody was sitting there like, oh, I've been waiting for days for my turn. Turns went relatively quickly. Except, like, the one new player that was playing the wizard, he was trying to figure out what he was going to do. He had 2 wizards sitting beside each other and kibitzing. They were probably the longest as far as time for turns.
Well, the one wizard, his turn was save, fail, and then next person.
Yeah, save, fail, save, fail, save, fail. And then he finally saved against fear, like in next to last round, but he was still paralyzed. So he still couldn't do anything because, in my opinion, a wizard, you still have to make a gesture or something, and he's paralyzed. He can't just sit there and cast a spell.
Yeah, it says that in the book as well.
So he was trying to move his flame sphere, and I said, you can't. That's a move action. The one guy said, yeah, that's a move action. And I said, besides, you can't do any type of gestures to move it, so you're done. It's like, that sucks. And then he failed his paralyzed save.
Yeah.
So it was he had fun and he also was helpful there. He was working with the other wizard.
He set the barn on fire, though.
He did set the barn on fire. Because that flame sphere kept sitting in one place and just started roasting it. But, honestly, I think everybody had fun. Even him, even though he was useless after the first round. Once I had hit him, he was feared and he was done because he could not roll a saving throw to save his life.
That was hilarious. And
even his damage roll, when he rolled it on the flame sphere, was horrible.
He inherited his son's rolls.
Yeah, he was doing very poorly with all types of rolls. But let's just go back over this real quickly. If you're a DM and you have something like this that you're running for a table, and you say you chime in, honestly, I think. The very first attack you can do the max attack. I did pull it in, so it was only 5-foot radius instead of 10. I didn't use the 21. I was honestly hoping that my 66 roll would come out lower than the 21, because 21 is still very powerful. If you're not aware, with Next they give you this is the damage, or you can roll the dice. The damage is usually a high average.
Now, my character has about the same amount of hit points as a 4th edition character because I've rolled really well for hit dice.
But the thing is, most people didn't. I mean, the one guy rolled a 1 for his hit die. You had somebody rolling a 2. 2 people did roll max when they leveled their hit die up this week. But most people got really bad rolls for their hit die. And, when you've got these uber-powered spells, it's a bad thing. So as a DM, you should not go to the table at encounters. You shouldn't be getting there 5 minutes early with 2 minutes left reading the encounter and then just playing it the way it's written. You should take the time. I always get there an hour early. I should prepare earlier, which most of my preparation is bringing pre-gens and stuff like that with the intent of doing a read-through, like 2 read-throughs in that hour that I'm there getting ready. It should only take you an hour to get ready. But once you read that encounter and you see that he has one spell that can wipe out a group, it's time to make a decision and adjust that power. And I am a firm believer that Wednesdays are fun D&D night. If you want to wipe your party, play a Lair Assault.
Yeah.
And you can enjoy the hell out of killing the party. And they're there with the understanding that you're going to have fun, laugh as you're killing them off, because that's Lair Assault. You're there to kill them.
Yeah.
It's you versus the DM. Something like this, as I stressed in the vlog, you're the storyteller, and you're there to... The story's about the players. It's not about you killing them.
A couple Lair Assaults ago, it was like kill the wizard. I found a spell that would have made that entirely easier, because you know the Beholder thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Rune Priests, they have this spell where you cast it on... You'd cast it on the wizard, and the construct would make a save. If it fails, it dies. Done.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
But we didn't do that. We got pretty far through there. We did pretty well, but we still died.
That has to make you think, These drow, they most likely know of that spell. So why didn't they just send somebody in with that?
Exactly. But, back to what we're talking about, I'm going to stress, if you're going to DM Wednesdays, even if you're a new DM, you should read ahead and think about, if you're in that party, or if you're a new player coming, what's it going to do to you when your first experience is you go in, 10 minutes in, your character's killed? You're not going to want to play again. That's not exciting. It's not fun. Make it a challenge for them. Never make it a cakewalk. But don't TPK them. I mean, don't be a dick.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. I mean, and we have one of those people who DMs on Wednesdays who is that guy. The other DM, the third DM, and I really don't think that people like that should be DMing, especially not encounters. Encounters is more of a introductory game. It's something you, as a DM, you should want to be bringing new players into the game. It keeps the game alive. It provides you people to play with as a dungeon master.
You people.
It provides you people to play with as a dungeon master. It'll keep the game alive because, let's face it, if people are not out there buying books, buying stuff, the game will die.
That's the idea of encounters. You draw new people in, they buy the books, they keep wizards in business.
Even if you like or hate wizards, which they're a company, they're there to make money, and if you can't deal with that, then get over it. You go to a job every day to make money. Wizards is there to make money, and you can't fault them for that. I mean, that's always been the big pissing match. Oh, Pathfinder, we hate wizards. They're just trying to make money. What do you think Paizo's doing? They're there to make money. They know, and they're taking advantage of your love of 3.5, and they're making money. That's why they're selling minis, books, new adventures, everything. They're no better than wizards. And if you think so, you're just a hypocrite.
Also, Steve Jackson Games, GURPS, what are they there for?
Well, Steve Jackson, they let's face it, they've had a little layoff, and I'm very excited because I looked at their site, and Steve Jackson had a layoff. They're not a layoff of people, but a layoff of creating new GURPS books for a while because they were doing a rollout of Ogre, which is an awesome game. I'm going to get it when it comes out. I've got the original pocket version of Ogre somewhere. I think it's up in one of these drawers here. And it's just a quick little game where you're playing these smart tanks and they're wiping out stuff. It was an awesome game. We wasted so much time in college between class playing Ogre and these pocket games that were produced. And Steve Jackson has done a re-release of Ogre. and they've spent a lot of time and effort to do that. So they haven't made any new GURP stuff. But when you look at the release schedule over the next couple months, it's like bam, 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 bam. They've got all new GURP stuff coming out for different time periods and different things, and it's just going to be great for 4th edition GURPS. So, I mean, I'm excited. And I don't have a problem with them doing that because it keeps the game fresh.
But just on time, because we're just joining it and, new stuff.
It's new stuff. But I wish they're not doing a 4th edition bestiary yet and some of the other stuff that I'd like to see. But
I'd like to see a book with more races. Because it's...
But that's why they show you how to make templates. You can make your own races.
It's a pain to make a template, though.
It doesn't matter. Once it's done, and your players have it. So, that's the attraction of GURPS. You can make whatever template you want, and you're not...
After this podcast, I got to take care of a couple templates so that I can print it out for our players on Sunday.
But here's the thing. With the templates, you're not locked into what some game maker thinks that creature should be. You can make it... If you want to make a Tolkien-esque orc, you make your own orcs. You're not stuck with a wizard's orc or somebody else's orc. You make your own. And
I made a dark elf,
but it becomes yours. And I know it's more work, but once it's done, and it's yours. And that's the beauty of it. But back to D&D and encounters. Again, I can't stress enough. All DMs, do your preparation. Make sure you're ready. Don't do it half-assed. I see too many times where guys will come in and they're reading 5 minutes before and then they screw up the encounter for the table. Or they come in and do what the other guy did. He read it 10 minutes before and he planned a TPK and he almost did it. I made sure I was prepared and I made sure that it did what I wanted to and challenged you guys, but it didn't murder you. And you wouldn't be happy. Nobody would be happy at the table. I just can't do that to a group of players on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And honestly, even if it's a long-term campaign and you're a DM, you should not want to do it, especially if you've got characters people have been playing 6 months, a year, longer than that, and they're...
Well, especially if it's a long-term campaign, because you plan on it being a long-term campaign, don't you? You just spent all that time writing a long-term campaign. Why would you want to kill all the characters that are playing this and just waste all the time that you just spent writing that thing out?
But let's look at it this way. Yeah, you might have players come back if you TPK a group in encounters. If you go out and you decide to maliciously TPK a group that's been playing a character for a year, 2 years, and they're invested in it, what do you think's going to happen?
They're probably going to quit.
They're going to walk. They'll find somebody else to play with.
On our Sunday group, when we get to Orcus, I'm going to try and TPK you.
You shouldn't try to do that and wipe out after we've spent so much time getting to 30 to do that. Make it a challenge. But again, I can't stress enough, don't be a dick. Because the real idea with these characters, we might find something to be able to do at level 30 and play on. Or some of us, like with me, I plan to retire the character, and that's going to be a theme that I want to carry over into your GURPS campaign. With the city and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, it's there. I just got to get the maps and stuff built.
But, as a DM, you really need to think, because you've been a player, how did you like it when your character was killed over and over again, or a character you're invested in is killed, or if you started and you played under a DM that was a bad DM and he killed you your first night out, did you enjoy it? And it was bad play on my part and a bad choice of character, but the first time I played a monk in the old first edition D&D, and at first level he just got murdered. And that's when I came back and I rolled a paladin, and I played that character for a couple of years. And he was much more powerful than the monk was. He had more staying ability, and it was easier for me to play that character at the time. And then I moved into other characters that required different skill as a player.
Like
but I could have been pissed off after that first night and never played again.
Well, that's what happens when you choose a character that is a D4 as its starting hit dice.
But that I had never played the game before. I just thought, oh, monk, cool. I was doing martial arts at the time and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, oh, that'd be a really cool character to play. And he got slaughtered, and it was just a bad idea. But fortunately Fortunately, I had friends that we played together. We enjoyed playing, and we were friends outside of the game, and that's what brought me in. And they're like, "Don't worry about it. Just make another character, do this, and we could use a pally or something like that." And we moved on. But very easily, if it wasn't a group of friends that I was playing with, I was just going to play. I see at my local gaming store they've got a Wednesday night game. Oh, I've really heard about D&D. I'm really excited. I want to go play. You go play and you get murdered the first night. You're like, that really sucked. There's a big difference. And I guarantee you a lot of people out there, DMs and stuff like that, you started playing with friends, not going to a store, playing with a group of strangers, and somebody rolling behind the DM screen is a dick and kills you. And that drives you from the game.
My first time playing, we played under the head DM.
And he's a good DM, and he doesn't try to murder you.
I was a paladin, Dragonborn paladin. It worked out well. I played him throughout the season. I think the next season I played a paladin. The next season I played the assassin because they had just introducduced the executioner.
Yeah, we were both playing executioners. You were playing the range, and I played the
so
the
I played that. And then the one night, the one kid was just being annoying, and we
that was funny because he kept going nom nom nom, and that just annoyed the crap out of the table. So when the rest of the group wasn't looking, we assassinated him and threw him in the river.
No, he had jumped into the river, and I had my precision dart out, and I critted on him.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, we killed him. I don't think that was kind of mean, but he was so annoying.
And the DM at the time, I don't think cared because he was annoyed too.
The whole table was annoyed, but it was a dick move on our part as players. But it happens. But as a DM, you're experienced, or you should be experienced. You should have had enough experience in the game to understand why you're there. You're there to be a storyteller, to guide the players, not to kill them, and to create enjoyment for the party.
Yeah.
And in the long term, if you commit to being a DM at something like Encounters, you should go out of your way to make it enjoyable and to make people want to come into the game and stay in the game. Not be an ass and drive them from the game so they never want to come back. Because I can't stress enough, so many of these people come, they're by themselves, they've never played before. Let's face it, gamers out there, a lot of them, you're introverted. A lot of people don't hang out with a lot of people that do this kind of stuff. I mean, we had one kid come, she had her life outside where she was in band and all this kind of stuff, and she didn't, those people wouldn't understand that she wanted to play this kind of game. So she came, she was very introverted, and, she enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We haven't seen her for a while, but I think most of that's because it's like a 45-minute ride or an hour ride for her to get there.
Yeah.
And her mom had to bring her. But, and it's on a school night. So, you need to take into account the people that are coming to your table. And you're going to have a lot of those introverted personalities. We have a lot of that comes and sits down. And if they become regulars and you make it fun for them, they're going to be just as boisterous, having fun, laughing, and participating. And that's really what this is about, is enjoying yourselves, participating, having fun. And, accept that as your job as a DM.
And I can also understand it, considering I have that as well. Considering the people that I know, they don't really know much about that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the kids that you hang out with at swim team, when you've played hockey, none of them did that kind of stuff. This was your thing on the side, away from those people. And you need to take it into account. You've got people coming, stepping out of their comfort zone. Make it fun for them.
Yeah.
Especially when they're sitting down with a group of strangers. Make it fun for them. Smile. Make them have fun. Make them feel welcome at your table. And don't freaking kill them. Make it a challenge. Maybe get them down close to death. I didn't feel bad about putting that wizard down because I knew there were two healers on the board, and one would be able to get him back up.
Technically, one healer.
There were two healers on the board, and one would be able to get him back up. So he got back up, and he participated after the next round he was up, and it worked out beautifully.
What did the wizard do once he was up? I was busy with.
He used what was it? The flame spell. It's like a cone. What is it? What was that? What the hell's the name of that spell?
Flaming hands.
Burning hands. He used burning hands, and hurt the hell out of. Well, no, he rolled bad, but he used it as his third level spell, I think, and he did decent damage. If he didn't roll a bunch of ones in that set, it would have been a lot better. But he did his part, and then I had a couple bad rolls, and he didn't get hit again. Then he got fully healed up the next round, so it worked out well for him. And they had fun. And at the end, I always ask at the end of the night because I have to hand out magic items, and I always ask. And if somebody says, I'm not going to make it back next week, I'm not going to let them roll for the magic items. They can't have them. I say, I want to make sure before we roll for the magic items, you guys all coming back next week. 2 guys, definitely. And the other 2, yeah, we'll be back. So that's 4 new players who are excited about coming on Wednesdays. And
I mean,
I've done my job at that point when I get that answer.
If you're a DM at Encounters, your job should be to have the new players laughing, having fun. I've had that before. It's not too difficult. You just have to. And
you're very introverted. So the fact you are, you don't like to admit it, but you are. I mean, you talk quiet. Sometimes as a DM, I have to say, "I can't hear you. Please speak up." And I do that for the table's benefit, even if I can hear you. I'm used to listening to you when you're being quiet because you have that in your personality. So,
but that's kind of your fault.
No, it's not. I was that way as a kid too, but
exactly.
you see what I do.
See right there.
You see what I do at the table. I go out of my way, don't I?
I try to.
And I'm generally very boisterous at the table, aren't I?
Yes.
And I make sure everyone has fun. That's why I'm there. I'm there to make sure they have fun. I'm there to make it their story and make them want to come back. And I have a lot of people, when I DM, they come back. So, and you do the same thing. You're just a little more quiet about it. I'd like to see you be more boisterous, but you need to develop that. And I think a lot of DMs out there, sometimes they need to develop that without crossing the line to being a dick as a DM.
Yeah.
So, but
there was the one DM we had a little while back. He was really loud. He played a lot of annoying characters, but he was loud when he was a DM, which was good. He was
loud, and even though it was no matter what character he was playing, it was always the same loud. But it was kind of funny, so the people at the table would be laughing, and they enjoyed it. Now, at the other tables, it was kind of annoying because he was just so overpowering that you had to talk up to be able to have your table hear you. But I'll give him credit. His table enjoyed it, and he had some friends that came. It was a lot of friends that came to sit with him, not new players.
I remember one week, it was a while back, somebody cast Freezing Burst and killed me. Yeah, that wasn't fun. It was some stupid wizard. He was attacking the party.
Yeah.
He was attacking the party, and the party was on the verge of killing him, pretty much. And it's pretty rare to have those, but don't be that player.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of this. I mean, we've got some vlogs we're going to work on. Some of my least favorite people at the table, rules lawyers, and some other stuff, and just some what not to do as players. But I've got some ideas there, and another vlog that'll just be kind of funny, but directed at a certain group of people as well. But I mean, there are a lot of things that you need to think about when you're playing the game, whether as a DM or a player. You need to think before you act. I mean, it's really that simple.
Yeah.
Think before you act. Think before you say something. Think before you do something.
And if the only way to get a large group of monsters with a burst is hitting somebody, make sure it's okay with them first.
Yes, you know what?
Make sure their health isn't.
If those characters are there and they have some way that they can move, you need to, when their turn comes, say, "Look, I plan to use an attack in that area. If you can possibly get out of there, do it."
Yeah.
Give them the chance. Don't just blast them. And wipe out members of your party because they're going to be mad at you.
Most of the time, you can aim it in a way that it won't hit them.
Yeah, but some people don't care, and you don't want those at your table, and you don't want to be that person because no one will want you at their table.
No, and if you're killing your own party, there is a chance that they're going to start hitting you.
Yes, I have struck members of my party because they were doing stupid things like that to let them know it's a bad idea after they're brought back up from below 0 hit points.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, that's it for this week's wrap up. It was a great encounters week. Our table had a hell of a lot of fun. We took up the whole 2 hours, and I did my best to make sure that the party survived. It was a challenge for you guys, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I destroyed those guys.
You got some good hits in, but you also had some misses there too.
Yeah.
But it was a challenge.
Cleave is awesome.
It was a challenge for the party, and honestly, you were the first one in there. I could have done 3 chain attacks, as well as the teleports, and taken you out. Their pluses were high.
Yeah.
I was kind to the table. And that's something as a DM on Encounters Night you need to do. You need to be kind to the table.
What type of weapon were they using? The chains?
You can look at it after we're done. It was just nasty. They had a 15-foot reach.
I think there is a chain I could get.
It's like a whip chain, but it was just nasty. It had like claws on the end, and it's just like a D12 of damage.
And D12?
Yeah, it was nasty.
OP much?
Very much. And the guards I think were D12s too. No matter what, you were getting beat up. But that's it for our encounters wrap up. Yes, we talk about a lot of other stuff, but a lot of this encounters wrap up is talking about the game and then talking about how you should be running encounters, maybe playing it, and just talking about how you should be having fun.
Yeah.
Because the key is Encounters Day is fun day.
Yeah.
It really is. And you should make it fun as a DM. And if your DM's not making it fun and you're a player, if you have an alternative shop that's close by to go to it and see if you have fun there. But make sure you're having fun. Don't let a bad DM drive you from the game. It's a great game with the right group, the right DM. You should be able to play for a long time and get a lifetime of enjoyment out of the game.
Yeah. So also, same with long-term campaigns. You should definitely try to keep those fun as well. Because if you plan on having a party for a long time, you should make sure that they're also having fun.
Yep. And I think we have a lot of fun on Sundays. That's why we've got our steady players that keep coming back. We've had. It's usually the new players that come in, like the dwarf that came for about a month and then he slid out. We'll see what happens with the new player if he fits with the group. A lot of it has to do, does the character and the play style fit with the group?
Granted, the barbarian did fit with the group. It was just kind of troublesome for me because he was dealing 60 damage as well.
Yeah, so between him and I, you were always getting 150 plus around hits on your... And if I action pointed, automatic bloodied.
Yeah. Well, like the Hydra, that wasn't happening, but that's another subject.
Hydra, that would have been even quicker chopping off the head on that thing.
Yeah.
But that's a different subject altogether. So thanks for listening. We're gonna be actively working on those vlogs now. We've gotten some positive feedback on that, and we're gonna keep doing that for a while between RPGNate and myself. If you have any ideas that you'd like to see us discuss on the vlogs, then be sure to give us some input. And I'm gonna look into possibly live streaming so we can get some active participation from people listening. So we'll see about that as well.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. If you are on YouTube and watching this,
listening, because if you're watching, you're watching the same screen, the title screen, and just hearing us talk.
Well, whatever. Like, favorite, and subscribe. If you're on the blog, click the link,
and then make sure you subscribe.
Also, you can subscribe to our RSS feed. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there's an RSS feed on the blog, but you're better off just subscribing on YouTube.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye.
RPG Dad signing off. Bye.